Hello everyone, welcome to a new podcast that we are recording today. Me, Matthasnocuts, yours truly, JaydenXV, premydaremy, and Sam Procrastinates. You can find all of them in the links down below. Today, we're going to be talking about Sonic Frontiers and everything that we know about the game, giving our thoughts before it releases in about 2 weeks from now. And we're just going to go through a variety of topics that were given through Twitter and that we came up ourselves with. And to start off, I did not tell them that this was a topic, but this is actually our first topic. How do you guys feel about Sonic Heroes?
Garbage.
So good. It's a good game.
Oh no.
The greatest game ever created.
I don't know, man. It's pretty good at being mid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, it's a decent mid, you know.
Wow.
A decent mid. Are we talking about Frontiers or Heroes? Like, make up your
No,
mind.
we're talking.
I'm joking.
We're talking about Heroes.
I
here.
don't hate Frontiers. Okay.
All right, better question. Will Frontiers be better than Heroes?
No.
Oh yeah, easily.
No.
I easily. I think.
I
that's
mean, all
possible.
right. Well,
Not
hold
a
on.
chance. Not a chance. Not a single
I'm like,
chance.
okay, so if Premy is the one that likes Heroes, and Matthasnocuts is like in the middle, and Jayden hates it.
Oh no, I hate
I'm
it.
like,
I'm just calling mid because it's funny.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I love Heroes. I grew up on it, but I won't deny and say the game has a ton of flaws. And the majority of my love really is nostalgia.
He's
but
right.
I like Heroes.
Look, if you're gonna say that Frontiers of those cyberspace levels is better than Heroes, I mean that's gotta be canon.
No, I don't think
right?
anyone's saying that.
I
But
think Heroes is best left in your memory. You played it as a kid, leave it like that. Don't go back.
I got a question.
No,
though.
that's like Shadow. Like for me at least.
I mean, that game too. That game is Heroes but worse.
But will Frontiers force you to play the game 4 times?
No, and that's why it's gonna be better.
What?
There we go.
There's 50 cyberspace stages and only 4 level themes: Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary, and Sea. You're gonna be seeing those themes way more times than you saw Seaside Hill and Heroes.
Okay,
Just put them out.
you know, to be fair, Heroes does look more fun than Cyberspace, but
I
well,
mean,
we'll see how the whole game turns out.
On top of that, I mean, based on what Mitchell Saltzman said from IGN, the game is gonna be like what, 3 hours an island. So you're looking at 15 hours on a first playthrough max, maybe even less. It might not even be that much longer than Heroes in the end.
All right.
I mean,
If
this
you
is new
beat the
content.
okay, no.
All right. Well, we should probably get off the topic of Heroes. You know, we can argue about this all day, but our first topic, our actual first topic that we had planned. What's your guys' general feelings about Sonic Frontiers? Let's go one by one. You first, Jayden.
Okay, so Sonic Frontiers at this current moment, I'm feeling like a 7.5 to 8, maybe an 8. But I think the game is going in a better direction than previous, obviously. And it's doing things that I wanted. I just want to run around in the open world and hit stuff with Sonic. But the caveat with that is difficulty. I think difficulty at the moment is the main thing that's, not letting this game go as high because it does not seem that great.
Amen.
But overall, I'm pleasantly surprised with Frontiers because in the beginning I wasn't that positive. But yeah, that's my overall thought.
All right. Now, Prem, how do you feel about it?
Frontiers has this really interesting thing where, because I played the demo, it's got this really interesting thing where you can look at the footage, you can play it, and find so many things wrong with it, and then still want to keep playing it. And I don't say that very lightly. It has this intrigue to it. So for me, it's like, I'm very intrigued to play it, but I question whether, after I've beaten it and seen everything, whether I'll still be intrigued enough to like replay it. And I'm yet to find that out until I play it a second time. From what I've seen so far, it's giving off those 6 to 7 out of 10 vibes, but they could have easily gone to like an 8, 8.5 had, again, Kishimoto not been, afraid of difficulty. I think that's the biggest thing for me, because I see passion in what he's saying and what he's doing. I can tell that they want this game to be big and ambitious, but because of that fear of difficulty, they're stifling so much potential like stimulation in the gameplay, because I'm like, this is a good foundation, but if you just dialed up the challenge a bit more, then it wouldn't feel so basic,
Agree.
All right. And Sam?
Yeah, no, Frontiers is a very interesting game. I'm very intrigued. I think it looks fun. I think, in my opinion, it feels like there's more positive than negatives. My headspace is same product, probably like a 7.5. The combat looks pretty decent. The open world is the majority of my positives. Like, it looks fun. But it's not perfect from what I could tell. Just with everything, like Premi said, we can analyze a lot of gameplay and see flaws, and I think he's right in that regard. Like, it definitely feels like they want this game to be big and ambitious, like every other open world game. But those games have challenge and difficulty, and it feels like this game is still trying to be a Sonic game while doing the open world. They tuned it up. You could tell they turned it up a little bit, but you wish they kind of went all in. It definitely feels like they're dipping their toe in the water, though. But yeah, no, I think Frontiers looks great. I know Cyberspace, in my opinion, just doesn't. It's no. And yeah, like that's really my thoughts. Is Frontiers looks very interesting. I'm looking forward to it, but it's not going to be the perfect game. And I think it's important to go in with that mindset, because if you go in expecting a perfect game, you're going to come out disappointed.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Like, I don't think this is going to be a perfect game. I'm kind of sitting on the fence if this game would be good or bad. And like, everybody's been saying like 6 out of 10 to like 8 out of 10, maybe 7 to 8. I'm kind of like 3 to 8. Like, I feel, yeah.
Oh, so you're more negative than me.
All right, I'm just saying, like, when we get in the game, if the platforming is very repetitive, it could be really bad. But if I'm in the flow of the game and the platforming's like good, then I could see easily being an 8. But
wait, question though,
it could so easily be a 3. Oh.
Out of all the platforming you've seen, what % would you say is actually automated?
That's my problem. Every time I see platforming, like, I don't remember who told me this. I think, I don't know. Maybe it was watching one of your videos, but somebody said like all the platforming is automated. Look at it, and I start watching the gameplay, and I just see like all the platforming. Sonic jumps on a rail, ends up at a spring at the end. Sonic jumps on something, ends up in like it looks all automated. So I'd say about.
It was probably me who said that. Yeah.
I'll say about. I know
you're not wrong, but at the same time, I have to bring up that's been a stigma of modern Sonic Boost, honestly, since Unleashed. And I will say since Unleashed, because Unleashed also not to the degree, but yeah, like that's a stigma of Boost.
But the degree is the nuance, though, right?
Yeah,
there's been automation. Like Sonic games have been getting more automated since Sonic 2. If you want to go there, like 2 has got way more automation than 1 in certain sections, and even 3 has got more than 2. It just keeps going, really.
Yeah, well,
but where is the limit?
Yeah, but the difference between Unleashed and Gens and like between like Forces and Frontiers is that with Frontiers you have like one end goal when you hit an automated like rail or spring. With Unleashed and Gens, like the automation does push you in a linear format in the level, but there are constantly like obstacles to react to at very quick speeds. You have to react very fast to those things. I don't really see that happening with Frontiers. So maybe when I get in the flow of the game, it'll feel different, but if it gets repetitive too fast, like I remember I was watching some Call Me Johnny's thoughts about it today, and it was, I don't know. I'm in the middle.
I feel like they took like Unleashed 2D sections and then put them in the open world.
No.
Nah, it wasn't Unleashed. Unleashed 2D was better than that.
It's not as fast, like in terms of the reactions and stuff, but like with the structures, it kind of feels that, similar kind of.
Yeah, it's like take the structure, make the reactions slower, remove most of the hazards, and then strip it of what we actually liked, and then
make it extremely easy.
Yeah, essentially, like take the foundation and make it easy. But that's what Forces do with Generations. Take the foundation and make it easier.
Yeah, I mean, critics have nothing to complain about if they don't die. Like they're succeeding. Look at them.
It's weird
though.
I
don't understand how you're gonna die in this game, if I'm being honest.
It's weird because throughout this whole discussion of us talking about like Frontiers platforming, and every time I'm like trying to imagine like what I was seeing in the gameplay on YouTube, like every time I just imagine him on rails, because that's all it is. It's a lot of rails.
Yeah, rails and springs.
Yeah.
There's so many
But-
platforming segments where he jumps on a spring, hits a rail, gets a collectible,
Yeah.
and leaves. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Chaos
I feel
Island
like
stuff is nice though.
it feels like those are like the parts that they sprinkled all over. It's more so what I'm more so interested in is the actual level terrain itself. And this is probably we're gonna go more into this probably when we talk about momentum, but like
Yeah.
level terrain.
we'll go into that. I'll talk about it then.
Well, there was a theory on that. Apparently, an insider apparently said, because remember Kishimoto said he said in an interview that the open zone was considered boring by the focus testers, but they liked the cyberspace, so he had to keep changing the open zone to essentially make it more interesting. And apparently, the insider said there was barely any platforming. Like all the stuff in the sky where most of the platforming takes place, apparently wasn't there. And then they added that in afterwards. So it's like they took what they'd already built, which was very not platforming heavy, and then just added those rail sections in the sky to compensate as like a band-aid or something. So that would explain why the terrain is not full of platforming like you would want it to be.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if we can go off of that. I don't know if the insider is 100% reliable.
Yeah, I mean, you never
It
really
sounds
know.
it sounds
in
realistic
terms of
though.
like yeah, no, I mean in terms of like the actual order of things, like we can't take that for granted. But I mean, it's not. That doesn't sound like it's wrong because I mean the things that are popping
Yeah.
in. The main problem with popping in the game are the stuff that's floating, and it feels like those were probably the last things put in.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
honestly,
that-
that insider thing might be true because it really does look like they made a map and then they just went like some level creator just slapped a bunch of rails everywhere.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll never really know for sure, but you know, it does feel like platforming was a bit of an afterthought because even in interviews officially, it seems like even Azuka said that combat was like one of the main reasons they wanted to make an open zone because they could add combat and not force people to do it because they could run away from it, and that was one of the catalysts for them even doing it in the first place. So, you know, I think combat was their primary focus, and then like the open zone was like the second focus, and platforming was like third or something.
Should have made a Sonic hack and slash spinoff. I was joking, but now that I'm thinking about that, actually sounds kind of dope.
It somewhat is. Just
Yeah.
not hard.
And one final thing on this section, and we're probably gonna skip the next topic because it kind of just covers what we're talking about right now. But yeah, I don't know. What I keep comparing Sonic Frontiers to is like Bowser's Fury and Banjo-Kazooie, because like in both those games, it's very open, where you know you're just slapped into a sandbox and you tackle any objectives in any order, and they're both collectathons essentially. And while Bowser's Fury, like the platforming does look very out of place, just like Sonic Frontiers, it looks like much more input is needed, a lot less automation, and that's kind of what I'm stuck on with Frontiers, really.
The platforming in Bowser's Fury really out of place because when I'm trying to remember, I thought that it was like integrated in the level itself.
And you're in the middle of like this water area, like it looks like an ocean, and there's just like castle blocks just scattered in the
That's how
sky.
Mario's always been though.
Well, yeah, but like for example, in like Mario Odyssey and Sunshine, they kind of do a better job at integrating it into the environments.
I'm looking at my Bowser's Fury stream right now on Premulous non-selling channel, link in the description. Wait, are you gonna put that in the description? 'Cause-
Sure, we'll
But,
put your
I'm-
non-side channel in the description. Sure.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Bowser's Fury gameplay, just trying to compare. I mean, maybe it's
Yeah.
not as cohesive as like Odyssey, but I still think they did a decent job with it in terms of the platforming. You know?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That was
At the end of
something
the day,
I first
wasn't this
noticed.
just DLC? So it's like
Yeah,
not
yeah,
DLC,
but
it's
it
like an add-on. So it's like
Kinda.
yeah, it's like it's hard to compare because like you know Sonic Frontiers is the culmination of 5 years,
Well-
right? And this in Bowser's Fury it's a layover. We're take this in the meantime while we're continuing
Yeah,
what we're doing.
but
And it was still longer than Forces.
I'm not.
I feel like this goes back to
It
a
is.
Sonic problem though, rather than a Frontiers problem or
But,
modern Sonic problem.
I'm not really criticizing Bowser's Fury. I'm comparing it to the fact that I think Bowser's Fury kind of looks like it does platforming a lot better in a way. That was kind of what
I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
it's kind of what
Absolutely.
I wanted from Frontiers, less automation, which, you know what, let's just get into the second topic right now, because I can't talk about this any longer without mentioning the elephant in the room. I was hoping they put momentum in the platforming in this game. I kind of wanted that.
Matt, you just said a
Yeah,
slur.
I'm right. I'm right there with you. And I think this is a major topic for me, because on my channel, link in the description. Just sorry. But on my channel, for a while, I've been a huge advocate of integrating what makes classic Sonic so fun into 3D, because 3D Sonic, you know,
Go on.
like I'm so sick of people being like, oh, like 3D Sonic, like every game is so different. And it's like, you know, why is it always so different? Like in terms of like actual gameplay, because you look at Mario, right? And I'm not saying I want Sonic to be like that. In fact, what makes Sonic charming compared to Mario is like the formula changes so much, like you don't really know what you're gonna get. But it's also a curse, though, to the point where it's like you want a little bit of cohesiveness with this gameplay. And I think the thing that should carry on, no matter what they want to do, whether it's having boost or some new ability, is to have momentum integrated in the game, because, you know, at the end of the day, what made Classic Sonic so fun is the fact that people can choose how good they are. The more they practice, the better they get. The more you play, the better you are. And that's all integrated in momentum, and that's what differentiated Sonic from the other mascots. But that's completely stripped out in 3D. And when you hear about them, when we heard about them making an open world Sonic game, the first thing we thought of was like, oh my god, are they going to put Sonic Forces controls in an open world and call it a day?
That's not
gonna
we thought
work.
that's what happened at first.
Yeah, and I mean, clearly we could tell like it's built off of what they did in Forces, but it is changed a bit. But you know, whether it was enough remains to be seen. I feel like not until we actually get our hands on the game. But it you know, it does come off as a missed opportunity at the end of the day. Like it looks like it could have been more. But you know, if this is, again, if my main excitement is like, if this is the direction they want to take for the next 10 years, like, then it's a good first step, but I'm sick of first steps. I hate saying that. Like I'm really just, I didn't wait 5 years for a first step. You know, I want like an actual proper Sonic game that isn't like, this part's bad, but this part's good, but this part's but
There's
this
always
part's
a
good.
catch.
There's always a catch. And it's
Always
like, I just want a tight experience through and through. But yeah, no, I think the reason why, you know, the world, like our conversation about the world, like why there's so many rails and floating platforms, is because the world is flat. Why is the world flat? Because they didn't put momentum in the game. I
was saying basically, it's like when I said the second playthrough would determine whether I really like the game or not, it's kind of because of the momentum. Because like Matt made a video recently talking about Red Mountain and Sonic Adventure, and it reminds me of like when I got good at Red Mountain. Like when I first played it, like no spin dashing, just doing the basic path, taking several minutes. And then you start, oh, I can spin dash jump there. Oh, there's a shortcut there. I don't have to do that. I can do that. And then before you realize you're beating the level in under 2 minutes. And you're like, oh my God, like there was so much mastery involved. And every time you replay it, you feel that like I've mastered this thing. So with Frontiers, without that momentum, it's like, I guess finding the quickest route would be important. But aside from that, will the second playthrough just feel dull because it's like I'm just doing the same thing again? There's no serious strats that could be taken to really improve your experience. There's no momentum advantage, like compared to like Super Mario Odyssey, where if you learn the acrobatic moves like the cappy throws and the dives and the wall jumps, you're gonna move way quicker than someone who just runs and jumps, right? Like you feel the difference. And that's what I don't think is here, and that's why I feel like the first playthrough is gonna carry itself on the exploring and the unknown, whereas once you know it, it might be like, okay, I know everything it's less interesting now, you know?
I actually do want to point out something real quick too, because this happens all the time when people mention momentum. Because most of the time when people talk about momentum, and I'm guilty of this too, is you'll see clips of Sonic Utopia and like Project Sonic Hero and all this stuff. Look, when we say we want momentum in our Sonic game, we're not talking about like I want the whole entire map to be nothing but hills where you're just rolling,
floating around.
Like, and I think mentioning adventure is a great idea because imagine adventure style controls in an open world. Adventure has momentum, but it's not like you don't think about it because it's it's not forced in your face, but it's fun, and that's what I like is feeling weight in my movements. And again, it looks like in the open world, because we've seen journalists talk about this in videos, they definitely did something to his controls, and it's definitely better, but it's that world design around it. It feels like
you could do some boost jumps on slopes. It's not like you can't do it in Frontiers, because I did test that in the demo. It's possible, not as elegant as Adventure 1. That's the gold standard of Sonic physics, but it's because the environment isn't designed around it. It's like you won't be able to enjoy it as much as you like, essentially.
What about the drop dash? Because that has momentum to it, right? But I know normal running doesn't, but I feel like that's what they're going for because they want Sonic to level up. I don't think they want him to reach high speeds without leveling up. I think that's their mindset with it.
I'm actually
the drop dash has momentum and the aerial stuff has momentum, but just not normal running.
All right, I might be dropping a take that might make some people upset. That drop dash thing, it kind of felt like a bullet point. Like, we got to put momentum in the game, boys. Put in the drop dash. Like, I just don't. Obviously, I haven't played it yet, so I don't know. But I just don't see how the drop dash is going to be used in gameplay, really.
Isn't it the same drop dash as the one from Forces, like the classic Sonic one? Did they change it at all?
Well, no, the Forces one, I don't think it had any momentum. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to see momentum.
You have to play it.
In Johnny's video, he mentioned it was a great use for going up, like, terrain.
Up terrain? What?
Yeah, no, he showed it, too. It, like, he was able to, like, go up a really steep wall with it. And in that regard, I guess, but it's like, it feels like it's being utilized. It's almost like what a spin dash would be used for. It's like, I don't know.
Unintentional, like.
Probably unintentional.
So is it momentum or is it just like base speed that it just sends you forward?
I mean, we've seen footage of it going downhill and being.
Yeah, I mean that's faster. Okay. I wanted to bring that up because when we were advocating we want momentum, and then we saw it didn't have it, and then people saw that clip of him rolling downhill for 5 seconds, and the speedometer was going up faster and faster. People were like, Sam, the game does have momentum. Oh my God, you were wrong. It's like, that's not what we're talking. It's not the fact that it's not in the freaking coding. It's the fact that the world's not designed with it in mind.
Exactly.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I saw that drop dash, and thing was that was going through my mind was like, what are we going to use this drop dash for? I mean, I'm happy to see the momentum in the game like that. That actually made me smile when I saw that. But like, what are we going to use that for? Like, I don't see any terrain to manipulate or anything.
Adventure 1 did the amazing thing where it's like, if you never even thought about spin dashing, the game still functioned normally. Like, you could just play it without spin dashing and it'll be fine. But then once you realize the capabilities of the spin dash, you realize these levels were designed in such a way that you can do so much with it. It's like a whole nother layer of the game has been opened that you didn't even know was there. And it's so crazy when you get to that layer and you're like, oh my God.
That game did what Mario Odyssey did like 20 years ago.
Exactly. And with Frontiers, it's like, we have the regular layer, like the original layer, you just play it the normal way, but then is there a peel back? I don't see the peel back, and that's the upsetting part.
I'm hoping there is something there. And I'm sure knowing this community, someone's gonna find something, like some sort of like skill type like movement to like really get across and turn it into Sonic X games. I'm sure that there's gonna be something, but it's hard to find it right now. But.
There somewhat is with the power boost. Someone did like a skip where they could skip the bridge section. That's where a lot of skill is going to be used for the game.
And the power boost, people were charging that within like 20 to 30 seconds of Cyloops. So people get that really quick.
I still don't like that feature. Why?
I do not like the Cyloop mechanic with the rings. I think that is stupid.
The idea of being able to pick up your rings makes the game easier on its own. Why do you have to give infinite rings? I don't get that.
Yeah.
You're never gonna die.
Yeah, no, I wonder the same thing. It's like if we have an infinite supply of rings, then it kind of negates the ring system.
Yeah.
So I definitely get
Well,
that.
really,
Health bar.
it negates the combat system in a way
Yeah.
because you don't have to master everything to not get hit.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't feel the anxiety of like, oh snap, I'm about to die, and I need
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
my only thing,
Like,
and I don't
move
know if
correctly.
there's any footage that probably like disproves this. I don't know, but maybe when you're in like combat with like a boss, you can't do it. I don't
Oh,
know.
you can.
No, you
You
can't.
can. No.
Yeah, that's
You
it's
should have had a
just-
health bar because I think the combat design philosophy is good. Like you can't just hit one button because most enemies seem to like do something to change how you're playing, which is different from Unleashed. But
yeah,
I think just the whole Cyloop thing kind of just ruins that.
Yeah.
yeah. And the
How about-
thing about that is like enemies, they do have different attack patterns they have to learn, but once you learn them, I feel like there's nothing else to learn. It's like, you just do this with this enemy, do that with that enemy, move on.
To be fair,
There's
I
a
feel like
lot of
that's with
enemies.
every Sonic game.
Yeah, but if you're having a focus on combat, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Like I feel like there should be more to that. But yeah, back to momentum. I don't know. I just kind of wanted a Bowser Fury type game, like momentum-based platforming from Venture One. That would have been dope.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping again, if this is the first step, maybe I'm hoping
The second step,
I'm
momentum.
hoping if they want to continue
Momentum.
open zone and they want to have that type of movement and they could tell they were tinkering with it. Like, all right,
Yeah. Also,
Not-
Zuka, if you're not bluffing and you want to make a Venture 3, do not make another Frontiers without momentum. It's gotta have momentum. You can't.
I
you
think
can't
it can
make a
only
Venture
go
3
up
back.
from here, if I'm being honest. But I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be 35 when we do get that 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and the thing is as well, and this is what I said about, Forces and Frontier. Like, before we even knew Frontiers was core Frontiers, when it was still Rangers, people said I was being very negative about how the game was going to play, even though we hadn't seen gameplay. And I said Kishimoto was directing it, and his whole track record has been like simplification, automation, making things easier. So the question is, like, yeah, we could say this is a good foundation. We could say Frontiers 2 would improve this and that. But it's only if they want to, right? Because I think Kishimoto doesn't like difficulty. I don't think he's invested in the whole momentum thing. So even if they were technically capable, if they have no desire to do it, or they think it's bad for, I don't know, the more casual market, then they might not even have a desire to even want to attempt it in the first place. And then you just get more of the same, essentially.
That would suck. Yeah. And I so badly want momentum being a 3D Sonic game, but I might as well say this since I feel like if I don't, the comments will go rampant. But the Sonic game doesn't need momentum to be good, but
doesn't.
it
Yeah,
definitely.
I said that as well.
I think it should have it.
Yeah.
But it's the main difference here is we're in an open world setting, so it's like, once you do everything in the world, what should be fun to play with is the world, and to have fun in the world, you want to have your own control. That requires momentum.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it depends on their vision, though. Because,
Yeah.
like, you could say that about Spider-Man, but, like, I feel like after a while, swinging and doing nothing does get boring. And that is, like, playing with the world. Like, even that in itself can get stale.
I mean, everything will get stale. I mean, you can't play a
Yeah.
game a million times and still find something new to do and still have tons of fun, unless, of course, it's Sonic Heroes. But in general, once you play the mechanics enough times,
I don't know about
once you play the mechanics enough times, you get used to everything. But it's like, how long does it take to get to that point, right? Like I said, I made a video about the whole momentum thing as well. Like, is it needed for the game to be good? I said no. But then on top of that, games like Unleashed, which were less focused on momentum, still had the challenge going for them. So even when you replay them, your brain is still going to be stimulated, because you could play
sir.
Eggman Land 50 million times and you're still going to have to be alert when you play it for the 50 millionth and first time, right? Because it's still got all the challenge, the hazards, the paths, so all these things are important. If it's easy and has no momentum, then what are you doing, essentially? And there's no rankings in anything but cyberspace. So there's no ranking incentivization. There's no, it's hard. There's no, it's momentum. What are you doing?
Yeah. All right. So has everyone said their piece on the controversial topic that is momentum?
I believe so.
Pretty much.
Yep.
All right. So this is our next topic by Blazing Aura. So he gave us 3 things to talk about. Let's start with number 1. What type of island do you want to see in the game among the Starfall Islands?
City Island as well.
Yeah,
I said that
city.
before.
Yeah. I don't think it's coming, but I would love to see a city.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming. Like,
Yeah.
but it would have been. Station Square Island. Oh my god.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was thinking
Oh.
more along the lines like an ancient city, like to match the game. theme.
Anything with buildings, man. Like this has all been like scenery, which looks pretty. I ain't gonna lie. Like the desert, the grass, volcano area that looks like death. Yeah, that looks cool and all, but I want to see a building. I want to rob a store in Sonic.
You know, like the temples and like Sonic Adventure 1, just like a bunch of those and like structures just all over the place. Like that would be cool, rather than just being so spread out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like actual like NPCs, like humans and shit, like some random. That could have been really crazy. You know what they could have done with that? Because like Metro Kingdom was one of like the best kingdoms in Odyssey. It was definitely top 5, and you know to have done something like that in Frontiers, maybe you could have even had a City Escape throwback with the board or something. I mean that's been done a million times, but something that could have been cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Metal City. That would have been crazy.
Yeah. You know, I don't like Heroes that much, but I love the atmosphere, the setting, and everything about that game. And I certainly don't want Sega to reuse things, but if they were to reuse any city level, like this might be a weird take, but I would want it to be Grand Metropolis. That would have been so sick.
I love Grand
Grand
Metropolis.
Metropolis Island. Oof, that would be crazy.
Yeah,
That'd be-
like,
that'd
dude, they
be
got the
cool,
futuristic
but
cars and
I feel
everything, man.
I don't know. The way I look at it is this game's setting is like abandonment.
Yeah,
I feel
it
like
wouldn't work.
It's definitely like if you're gonna have a city island, it's gonna be like ruins. It's not gonna be
Yeah.
like modern city.
Oh, Crisis.
No, I would
No.
say like
Too modern.
decay.
Yeah, like how
apocalyptic.
Jayden explained it, like, you know, ancient civilization, a million years ago
Yeah.
type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like Mayan.
Yeah.
Well, unless there was some like random time travel in the story or something. I don't even know what's going on in the story.
Dude, I'll even take an ancient ruined city. Like, I just want something that's not scenery, you know? That would
It's
have been
kind of
cool.
weird though, because like the whole theme of the game is cyber and like computer type stuff, but yet everything's so ancient. So
Yeah, there
No.
should have been like a
could be
futuristic
a thing.
city, like some cyberspace city or something. Like that would have been crazy.
that actually could happen. Now I'm thinking about it, a cyberspace city.
Okay, before we move on, there was one thing. I think one of my friends DM'd me this. He came up with like this idea, and I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but he was talking about what if the final island is Angel Island?
Ooh.
That's
Like straight from like
big
Sonic
task.
3 kind of.
I don't know, just Angel Island. I don't know if it's gonna be modern day, classic, new interpretation.
It's got a slap, but
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be too much green because you've already got Kronos for the green theme. You got the Ares for sand. You got the volcano Cloud Island, and apparently there's like a icy, watery island. So
yeah.
Man,
I don't know if going back to green would be
That's
the
not
best.
I don't know, man. I could take Angel Island, especially if it's got like, I would love an open zone to have the cybernetic like theme around it. I don't know, but they probably won't do that.
Yeah. Wait, what? But Premi, was that confirmed somewhere?
Well, they dropped the OST and they had the imagery. And there was like an island that we hadn't seen before, and it looked kind of like bluish, kind of like I don't know.
There.
You know,
there.
I never realized how not up to date I am with Sonic news until Premi joined the call.
I've always seen Prem and like Unleashed talk about it. It was just random.
Yeah. All right. So second question. Oh wait. This covers Prem's favorite topic. Here we go. Do you think Frontiers combat is better than Unleash's? Also,
Yeah.
what moves do you want from
Yeah.
Sonic? What do you want moves from Sonic Battle in the game? That's what I asked. Yeah.
Okay, so I think
Oh
that
no.
Frontiers combat has better moves. In
Wait,
the
what?
sense that it's more interesting, right? With Unleashed, because Unleashed is more like a brawler. Unleashed focus more on having a lot of weaker enemies, whereas Frontiers is like having very few of one. So if you're talking like a one-on-one battle, Frontiers has a bit more intrigue in the sense that you're focusing on one enemy, so you have to like focus on that one thing. Unleashed, once you know what you're doing, you're gonna ram through most of those enemies, right? But at the end of the day, Frontiers then ruins it by putting no stakes involved, right? Because you can re-grab your rings, you can light speed dash your fallen rings, you can Cyloop new rings, so you don't even have to learn all the nice mechanics that are there. Then they put the auto combo in there, which you can turn off, but you can still use it on the hard difficulty. So it's a bit of a mess. Whereas Unleashed, you know, you still have that stakes of maybe the combat is not as intricate. I mean, there are more combos, but again, you don't have to use them. You know, you could do the spinning needle and get through most enemies, and then do the
problem with
QTEs.
that game, to be honest.
And then it's like you can
Hold up,
essentially, but because of the health situation, it's still more stakes because like sometimes you get to a tough section and you really are low on health and there's not enough rings there to kill you, and because of that, it still feels more intense in a sense, right? But another thing I want to talk about is avoidance, because people made this argument that, well, Frontiers is better because you can skip the combat, and it's like the combat is the main focus of the game. So yes, you can skip some enemies, but you're gonna have to do combat. And in Unleashed, a lot of people don't realize this, there are a lot of enemies you can skip if you know what you're doing. You don't actually have to kill every single wave of enemies. It's just you're not paying attention. You hear the music, and you go, okay, I have to defeat. No, you don't.
Yeah,
Pay attention, you'll see it.
Yeah, you can actually beat some levels in under 6 minutes if you just dash through.
Yeah, like Dragon Road, like even under 3 minutes if you got spinning needle. So it's like, you know, I think the combat debate is like Unleashed is more of a brawler, more enemies, so each individual is easy to defeat, unless it's a boss. If we're talking like bosses, we compare the Unleashed bosses to Frontiers bosses. Unleashed bosses are easily better, no question. But if we're talking like your inner level and there's like minions, I guess if you were to compare them to the home and attack enemies of Frontiers, then I guess you could still go with Unleashed. But I do think Frontiers has an upper hand with certain smaller bosses, you know, but they ruin it with the cheese.
I think.
Oh, go ahead,
Sam.
Oh, okay. What I was going to say was, I think when it comes to comparing Frontiers to Unleashed, it's important to look at the whole package for each, because Unleashed is not one thing or the other. Because I think the positive that Frontiers has over Unleashed is that it's amending the combat into the main gameplay. While Unleashed, it's like if you turn into the Werehog from Modern Sonic, it feels like you're playing a completely different game. And I think that's what Frontiers has going for it compared to Unleashed, is like you don't have to switch to anything. Like you have these abilities in your arsenal ready to go. And I think in that regard, it also is a little bit faster paced in Frontiers.
I never really understood that though, saying it's faster, because I mean, I guess his running speed is faster. But when you're on an enemy,
running speed, it's because, you know, in Unleashed, you're like, you know, in Unleashed style, you're kind of like just fighting the enemy. And in Frontiers, you know, you're parrying, you're dodging, you're Cylooping around them, you're homing attacking. It just feels a bit more like you're moving a bit more than the Werehog. The Werehog, it's more so like, yeah, you have the double jump and stuff like that, but I feel like when you start doing like combos, you're kind of in the same area.
I mean, you could argue the same with Frontiers, because they got the combo system, and a lot of the moves involve staying in one place, pressing whatever the button combination is.
No, you're absolutely right in that regard, and I feel like both games are kind of the same in that regard, but I'm more so talking about just like, again, the overall. Like overall, like I see more moves in Frontiers where you're moving around more. You're definitely moving around more, and I feel like your combos are a bit more like wider, just wider.
I don't know if I agree with the last part, but
yeah,
I think
I was on the same page until halfway there.
I think like on a foundation level, Frontiers is better, but it's more so just the difficulty, because like Unleashed, yeah, you have all these combos, but the game does nothing to make you learn them, use them, or no, I mean, it doesn't really make you do anything. I think that's the problem with Unleashed's combat.
Have you tried?
Frontiers is more along the lines of like making you do things to make things happen in the game rather than just, oh, you can just spam the needle. Like,
Well, I
think
mean,
that's
you can
whack.
spam the Cyloop, and that'll do a lot of work. Like a lot of the enemies involve Cylooping and then attacking, right? There's
Yeah,
a
but even
very
that does something. That's a launcher. That launches enemies into the air, and you can do more combos off of that. Like, I mean, Unleash has a launcher too, but it's only for like a single enemy, and you can only do like 2 combos off of it. But you don't even have to do that. And I think that's the problem with Unleashed versus Frontiers. But what would make Frontiers way better is if they add difficulty to that. Then that way it doesn't feel like a pushover. Because I think that's the one thing holding it back compared to Unleashed.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say that's the one thing, but it's the major thing definitely that's holding it back. But again, they are different in the sense that Unleashed is more of a brawler. Frontiers is more like focusing on one thing at a time, whereas Unleashed they kind of ambush you. So it's a different style of combat. But I didn't agree with people who were essentially saying that Unleashed was this automated button mashy mess, and then Frontiers was super intricate and like you had to just because I got a lot of comments like that, and it's like I played both. I played the demo Frontiers, and it's not like, oh my god, this is so hard. It's not. Like you really can't do the bare minimum, and you will still defeat the enemies.
But I do want to mention one thing I did forget to mention when you were talking about with Unleashed, like how you can, like the main thing you guys were saying was like, oh, you know, you guys can actually, if you know what you're doing, you could beat the Werehog sections like faster in like 3 minutes or so.
Oh yeah.
I think the problem is though, to do that, it requires a lot out of the player, and I think that like
Isn't that a good
should
thing?
admit that. No, that's fine to have like a skill gap. I think it's fine to do a skill gap, but to make the game less painful, like to not have a 20-minute Werehog stage, it does require like heavy memorization of these moves to get the Werehog to essentially like skip sections. It does take a lot.
I mean, I would argue that yes,
Well,
the time difference from the first playthrough to like once you know what you're doing is great, but the only reason you would see that as a flaw is if you didn't like it the first time, right? Like if you didn't like it, then it was annoying. Then the idea that it was long just makes it more annoying, right? But if you did, like a lot of us enjoy playing it the first time, then making it quicker is just part of the fun, right? But it wasn't like, oh, I hated it when it was 30 minutes, and now I like it because I can do it in under 8 minutes or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
So that's more so a debate on whether you like the Werewolf or not.
Yeah, no, that sounds more. Yeah, that's more of a debate of Unleashed itself than like Frontiers, and that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
That's also Unleashed's fault because it doesn't do enough to like help you. You kind of just thrown in.
I do
again,
agree
on
with
top
that.
of that,
It doesn't do that a
on
lot.
top of that, and this is a bit of a separate debate, but I firmly believe that if medal collecting wasn't a requirement, and I don't hate medal collecting, but if it wasn't a requirement, the Werewolf stages wouldn't be that long. Because people would skip. People would be able to do them really quickly.
I don't even hate them
Because
either, to be honest.
that's what makes them long. Everyone's like searching every nook and cranny for these like medals and all that. And I actually kind of like doing that because, you know, I like exploring levels, but
yeah,
I can understand why a lot of people don't. You
My
know?
hot take is that the medals are more obvious than people think.
They are obvious,
they
but
are.
because like the first time you're looking, you don't know that, so you're like, I have to check everywhere because there could be something hidden there, and it's like, no, it's not. It's in an obvious place.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna say real quick on Unleashed, and then I do think we should like, because I don't think we should stick on Unleashed for too long. What I was gonna say is like, I don't think hunting for medals is what makes the stages long. Like, I feel like even me who will casually play these stages, they'll go up to like 11, 15 minutes, like casually playing. And I'm not like hunting for these things. And no, you are right. Like the second time you play, like when you do have an eye out for them, you know, you don't have to hunt for them. Like you're not actively looking, like you do see them. But like, I think, yeah, it's just,
but if you, have you ever like gone back to the game and just just replayed a level, not looking for any medals, skipping enemies you didn't have to do, and just doing the platforming, like, and then just compare the length?
But the question is, are we playing these Sonic games to play them again or to have a good time?
I'm playing them to
have a good
play
time
them again and have a good time. Like, yeah, I mean, if you can't have fun on the second playthrough of a Sonic game, is it really a good Sonic game?
I guess my question though is, do you have to play it again to find the fun?
Well,
no, that's what I was saying. If
you
you have to like it the first time, definitely.
Well, yeah,
I mean, I liked it the first time. I mean, I definitely liked it more the second time, but the first time was still enjoyable. And I'm someone who spent ages in Dragon Road Knight the first time because medals and death and whatnot. And now I breezed through that in under 3 minutes. But even the first time, Shamar, my God. But it's like even the first time, I still enjoyed it, right? Like Sonic Heroes. I'm telling you,
you ain't gotta bring Heroes back into this.
I sucked as a power plant Team Sonic. The amount of times I rage quit on that level, I had to beat Team Rose first, right? And I still liked it. I was that kid that would game over on a level in Heroes, be so pissed, chuck the controller, like, fuck this game, and then like 30 minutes later, I'm booting up the Xbox again.
That was me with Unleashed.
So it's like, if you still, even if you're raging, like, if you like it the first time, then when you get good, it's just like even better. But I don't want to tell people that, because yes, it is true that Hedgehog will get way quicker once you know what you're doing, once you're not searching for medals. But if you don't like it the first time, you probably just don't like it, and that's fine.
Yeah. Now, Prem, we just got you get to like Sonic CD, and then we're good, you know.
No, I've got a limit.
Nah,
come on, Sonic CD, man. The second playthrough.
I was so hyped for that game because as a kid, like I had Mega Collection, and I don't think CD was on that. And I used to see the footage of like the intro cutscene, and it had time travel. I was like, this is so cool. And then I played it years later, finally, and I was like, what the fuck? This is worse than all the other classics. What's going on?
Yeah, off topic, I got it as a kid for Jim's collection. Because I got it all for Sonic CD, played it for 5 minutes, and then proceeded to play Sonic R and Fighters the entire time. Because I liked it much more. Anyways, yeah, to wrap up the Unleashed discussion versus Frontiers, I feel like Unleashed's combat slaps Frontiers hard. Like it's way better, but when you're looking at both as different packages, kind of like how Sam said, like when you're in the open world and you're playing as modern Sonic, it's easier to get distracted and just go start doing combat rather than Sonic Unleashed, where yes, the combat is better, but that's because they locked it behind another gameplay style that doesn't require other moves like, you know, switching lanes and all that with modern Sonic gameplay.
Oh, one more thing on the combat. We forgot to talk about like the look of it. Like Frontiers combat looks.
Oh yeah,
better.
it looks great. It looks
like
great,
we saw the Elite Supersonic Titan fight. Just visually and cinematic, like animation, it was crazy.
Dude, Sonic is punching people. This is awesome, bro.
Yeah, so I will say that like there's a difference between how it feels mechanically and how it visually looks, and I think that's what reels a lot of people into saying Frontiers 1 is superior because it looks cool. The abilities look cooler than the ones in Unleashed, but Unleashed is definitely very fun when you actually know what you're doing.
Yeah, it does look flashier. All right, so this next question, it's probably gonna lead into the topic that is coming after this one. What returning stage do you want from Cyberspace?
Crazy Gadget. I don't care how they do it. Put it in.
Jayden, you got a good opinion for once. Wow.
What for once?
I mean, Crazy Gadget is fun. No, everyone seems to hate Crazy Gadget, but that was like the best level in the game for me.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Alright.
Thank you.
It's alright. It's nothing
cool.
great.
It had like the gravity Tetris and all that. Like that was a cool level.
Especially if you do the skips on that part too. Like, it's so much.
Yeah, Crazy Gadget is lit. That's a fire level.
It's alright, man. It's alright.
Some people said Final Rush in Frontiers, but like the automation would ruin it.
Yeah, you can't. You literally can't do Final Rush in Frontiers. Yeah. There is no momentum or anything, bro.
Specifically to like have momentum on rails a lot more.
Dude, that would make me more upset with the game. Why would you like limit momentum to one cyberspace level? Like that would be the best cyberspace level, but still.
I have such a hot take when it comes to what I would want from cyberspace levels. Because okay, so this gameplay style has no momentum, so I feel like taking levels from games that had that, it's like it's scary. So honestly, I feel like you have to take from games that don't have momentum in mind. I'd say Heroes. Grab some Heroes.
Wait, hold on.
I don't want to play a Heroes level, man. I'm tired of playing Heroes,
bro. First of all, Heroes has got momentum, okay?
It's not with it in mind. You know damn well.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Hey, look, man. Azuka tried.
Hold on. I've got a clip right here that has momentum in it.
Okay, but where do you use momentum in Heroes gameplay to like enhance
my
the levels and the gameplay? Where do you do that?
I was gonna say Metropolis, but even those like roads are like
Yeah, no,
I will admit that it is not the major focus of the game, but just like Frontiers, it is there. You
Bro.
can use it. It's there.
I swear, I
I'm
swear.
gonna post this right quick.
If I open up a cyberspace stage and I find a heroes level that's 5 minutes long, I'm turning the game off. I ain't doing this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'll be boost, so it'll be a lot quicker. But let me put it this way: like cyberspace does, and I've tested it. It does have momentum in the physics. You can do like boost jumps on slopes. It's just the levels aren't designed around it, so most people won't. But it is a thing that is there.
Heroes momentum. You have a
Why do you
uploaded.
have a video of this?
Why do you have a video of this? What is
Did
this?
he just upload
He
this?
was prepared.
No,
What is
this
this?
is like I had a
he
Twitter
did.
argument years ago about Heroes Momentum, and I had to record a clip to prove it.
Oh,
and I still
come
have it saved.
on.
Yo, bro.
Okay, that
okay,
looks
okay.
impressive, but no, that is not.
Okay,
nah.
that is such a situational thing.
Yeah.
I'm just proving that it works.
All right,
okay?
but
I
yeah,
wish
no,
that movie
okay.
Yes,
now
it
was,
works.
but-
Congratulations. I don't
In
know.
the same way, you could probably launch off a Rockin' Frontiers. Yes, that works.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah, so-
listen.
I'm not denying that it's less focused on
Yeah.
it,
Yeah,
compared
no,
to like
to
SA1.
What's your point here?
But no, to go back to my main point essentially is like because we see these generation levels and Frontier Sonic running through it, and it's so bastardized. It doesn't look like it's mending. So I'm worried about how this gameplay style would play for Adventure 2 levels as well. I
No,
feel
but
like,
Adventure
again,
2 levels are not heavily focused on momentum.
They're not
either.
focused on it. So
No,
it
no,
would-
Enough
I'm not gonna
momentum.
lie.
It had enough momentum.
Green
And
Forest
not
is not
only-
heavily focused on momentum.
Yeah, no,
That's
but I'm
the
talking
problem.
about like okay, so what did we saw? We saw the Skyrail, right?
There was Skyrail and Green Forest. Those are both
But
not
I think,
momentum.
but
I
I know
think those
but what
levels
the
worked
thing,
really well, if I'm being honest.
The
Yeah.
thing that I feel like made Skyrail fun though was the fact that you're
Yeah.
balancing on those rails.
Yeah.
There's no
of course,
balancing
of
in
course.
this game, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
They cut
you
down
know,
the rails though.
so that again this goes back to my point though. It's like if they're not as good as the original, but that's a whole different discussion.
But the
My
thing is,
point
though,
is like heroes levels, they're more. I feel like they're more in line with what this gameplay style would mend well with. Is like it's a more longer stretched levels with hallway type designs.
I
you know?
really
your
don't want to
answer
play any
HD
heroes
or not?
levels, man. I
Hey,
really
look,
don't want to.
Look, at the end of the day, if I was gonna pick a heroes level for cyberspace, it would probably be something like Egg Fleet, because again,
Yeah.
all the
Oh, yeah.
cyberspace levels that are reusing old level design, they are all inferior to the original versions of the level.
Yeah.
So I would
Egg
expect the same
Fleet.
for Egg Fleet, but at least it would be Egg Fleet, right? If we're gonna go there, just don't make it Green Hill, because
Yeah.
you
Make
know
a seaside
Skyroll as Green Hill is a bit depressing. Like Green Forest is Green Hill. Like I get it, but like we don't want to take Skyrail and then just copy the level design and then make it Green Hill, because we've seen enough Green Hill.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
bit
not gonna
annoying.
lie. That Skyrail like video, it looked kind of ugly, man. I don't like seeing it with Green Hill textures.
Oh, I mean, should we go into that real quick? 'Cause,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
know what? Yeah.
That's something. All right, so listen. So, as of when we're doing this, it's pretty clear because I mean, all the journalists are saying it that all the cyberspace levels, and Johnny said it himself, all the cyberspace levels he's played are all Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary, and the city level.
Yeah.
What is that level, by the way? Do we know what that is?
That's
Like, is it
all
just
we're
brand new?
seeing, and I think it's pretty clear that like that's probably what it's gonna be like. And I don't know, maybe the full game there's different ones, but my point is like I'm not gonna hold my hope out for it. They
Man.
played 3 islands out of 5, and they stayed the same theme. And to me, it comes off lazy. It is inexcusable at this point. We should not defend it at all.
Do you know why it's so annoying though?
Yeah.
It's because like if you were gonna steal 4 of the level assets essentially from generations, why not steal the other 5? Right? You're already stealing Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary, and I'm guessing Speed Highway assets.
They don't want to
this.
steal
I don't know.
anything
You might as
past
well
Adventure
steal
2.
Seaside
I
Hill.
don't
You might as
think
well
so.
steal Crisis City.
Well,
You might
Nothing
as well
past
steal
Adventure
Root
2
Run.
exists.
Hold on, I want to
It's-
clarify. I don't think those are Speed Highway assets. I've asked my chat, and people would have said this by now on Twitter. We've seen city levels. We're not seeing Speed Highway stuff. That looks like the only new thing so far. And
Oh, why?
but again, if it is new, that completely destroys the this is Sonic's memory thing. Like that it's
Well, I
not
mean,
Sonic
they're
memory.
road textures, right? It could have been like leftover textures from whatever engine.
Maybe,
I
but
don't know.
it feels like that's the one theme that had like they tried to change it up a bit, and that's appreciated, and that's the one Cyberspace theme that's catching my eye more than the others. It's like I don't know why. I don't know.
It just feels like if you were gonna steal things. Right?
Yeah.
Crisis City textures are laying there from gens. Rooftop Run, Planet Wisp. You might as well steal everything.
Yeah,
Why are you
you
gonna
might
spoil
as-
environments?
Yeah.
At this
I
point,
agree
Port
that
Sonic
it's
Unleashed into the
lazy.
game.
But there's also gonna be like what 50 of them.
can I be
I
honest?
I can
I
see
would've-
why they went that.
I'd rather
route,
have
but
none.
No, I mean we would
Mm.
all. I think we would rather. Okay, at the end of the day, we would rather have whole new like themes.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
would.
yeah.
I'd rather not
But
have
if we-
cyberspace.
if they-
period.
Facts.
know,
I don't want
clearly-
cyberspace at all.
Clearly,
You guys
Clearly-
only say you don't want cyberspace because they
hold
don't
on.
play like
No, I'm not
Unleashed
gonna throw
levels.
out the idea of cyberspace. I think
Exactly.
it's cool. I think the idea of
Literally.
cyberspace is cool. It's more like a special stage type theme thing where the better you do, the more you get rewarded, and it sounds like you get the emerald key right from these. So
that's cool,
in that
but play
regard,
like you
it's
do.
cool, like a side thing. You don't want to, it's a cool little side thing, but it depends on how well that's executed. And I don't know if I'm alone in this, but if they were gonna grab like assets, I'd rather them have taken them from Forces, if I'm honest. Some of the little assets from Forces didn't look bad. The level assets themselves did not look bad in Forces.
Yeah,
I'd rather them
Metropolitan
have
Highway
I
looked
can't
nice.
believe you're saying the level design was good, Sam. That's crazy.
That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is like, what's that Metropolis in Forces? That
That was a nice looking
that.
level visually.
Yeah,
I mean,
take that. Why
technically
are
these-
we
these
grabbing
levels are
Green Hill?
good.
Take that and like play with that stuff. Do the casino forest stuff. Like do stuff like at least do what's less like again, we've seen the generation stuff to death. And it's inexcusable at this point. No one should excuse this. It's clearly this was like a time crunch, like, oh, we're just gonna use these.
Yeah.
It's because they know that hardcore fans are still gonna buy it, and casuals probably won't even remember it. So it's like whatever. They can get away with it essentially. But I don't think we should be saying that they should have just removed cyberspace from the game.
Well, if they're not gonna
really-
do it
I have-
right,
I have
don't
a
waste my
different
time,
idea
you
for
know?
them.
Yeah.
You know how like Crash has like the bridge levels and stuff? I was thinking maybe they should connect all the islands with a level. Like part of the open
dude.
world.
And don't have as many, like, put a bunch of quality into one level. Like, actually make a good boosting level.
And you can have levels going back to previous islands.
Wait,
Yeah.
so you mean like if you're going from Kronos to Ares, like it starts off looking like Kronos and it twists into Ares?
Yeah, it's like a
Oh,
level,
dude,
linear level.
that'd be peak, bro.
That'd
Could
be
be
cool,
interesting,
but
yeah.
I do wonder.
And then you play it backwards to go
Yeah.
back.
I guess my only part is
Or
when
no,
you
a new
connect
level
them, when you
backwards.
connect them like that. I feel like the reason why they're separated is probably because the Switch as well. Like this game needs to
Probably.
run on Switch. You can't make it too big.
Yeah. I mean, since we're on the topic of cyberspace right now, cyberspace doesn't look fun at all.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's my viewpoint.
I'm not gonna lie. The levels that steal from superior Sonic games do look fun. It's just that
I will
They
say
look
that.
clunky to me. They do not
technically
look fun.
bad. They're
I mean, they
technically
look
not bad.
relatively fun, like within the context of Frontiers. Like
Yeah.
obviously the control that they changed in Cyberspace. I remember playing the Cyberspace demo and it just felt so off. Like I don't know why they did that. Mods are gonna have to fix that one clearly, but it
That's
was
something
it was a
everyone
mess.
was saying. Everyone is saying the same thing. Where like because Kishimoto I think said this on Twitter or on an interview or something where he wanted to leave the controls up to the player in the open world and you have all those sliders and it's a bit different, but it seems like everything is locked in cyberspace and everyone is saying the same thing. He controls like butt in those, so we're gonna.
I think they locked it because they wanted the rankings to be in line. That's the theory. I don't know, because if we look at the starting speed, if you change the slider, it's significantly different.
They want
and it
you
would
to
break
get
the
them S
rankings.
ranks. They
That
want you
makes
to get
sense,
the
but
S ranks.
there's a way around that too. Like if you mess with your settings, there should be like multipliers to add on to like the ranking.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
No, I'm saying that's what they should do, like to get around.
Or if you're gonna force, the controls to be different in cyberspace, you could like not make the controls bad in the first place.
Yeah, I would just say like if they need to be locked, like just figure out
Yeah.
a control scheme that feels good. Like that's really what's important here.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Man,
But yeah, I mean,
I hope
wait for the mods.
I hope this time they get the message. Like, we don't want the reuse stuff. And just next game we get momentum, no cyberspace. And if we do, I hope it's not reuse stuff like this. I
yeah,
don't
no.
want any more
Why
of
If
did you
people
turn
are
into a New
complaining
Yorker?
about it in Forces, you're gonna be hearing it loud and clear with this one.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
I don't think they're ever gonna be fully original again because people complained about the reused
Man.
environments in Forces, and they're like, maybe next time they heard us, they'll learn a lesson, and then they just said, okay, let's reuse environments and level design, and it's
At
like,
least
Yeah.
it's not in the open world. But
Man, I hate Sonic. My parents should have never got me a GameCube when I was younger. Hey guys, it's me, Matt, and I just want to clarify for this section of the video that I am unscripted, so just bear with me. Nonetheless, if you've made it to the end of this video, I just want to give you a big thanks because this is a video I've never really done before. This is just kind of like a podcast discussion between me and some creator friends, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I never really collab with anyone on this channel, so this is a very rare occasion. I hope this made your day in some kind of way, I don't know. I'm awkward, I don't know what I'm saying. I hope you had fun because I had fun. Anyways, let's get to the point. This video was only part 1 of this podcast. When we recorded it, it was about 2 hours long, and I just did not feel okay with myself for uploading a 2-hour podcast to the channel, so I split it up into 2 parts. Part 2 of this podcast will be uploaded over the next few days, and if you're interested in that, I highly recommend that you subscribe and ding the bell to add post notifications to my channel. If you do that, then you'll be notified and you won't miss my next part of this podcast. Anyways, that's all I have to say, so I'm gonna read my chill members now. My chill members are Gamer Blake 90, Fear the Red Chicken, Reese, Nix, JaydenXV, Ethan K78, Jen Inring, Slangman 715, Artrix YZ, Psycup, Thomas One Ride, Chip Chop, Scape, The Squeaker Nerd, Super Shacks Boom, Psych Extreme, and Super Saiyan Sonic. Thank you all for supporting the channel. Make sure to click one of the in-card screen videos here. I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Peace out.